this actually work? Find out. See what I'm actually streaming. Nice, we're back to see what I'm actually streaming. Let's put this down. Nice, we're back to see what I'm actually streaming. Let's put this down. Nice, we're back to see what I'm actually streaming. Down. Nice, we're back to see what I'm actually streaming. Down. Nice, we're back to see what I'm actually streaming. God, I haven't used this in ages. I'm trying to remember how to share your screen. It's honestly like Teams. God, I haven't used this in ages. I'm trying to remember how to share your screen. It's honestly like Teams. Kind of worse though. I haven't used this in ages. I'm trying to remember how to share your screen. It's honestly like Teams. Okay, extensions. Add extension, question mark, payload. Oh god. Should have added this before I even started streaming. But you know, something special about streaming at a quality of 30 FPS. Okay, yep, I cannot find at all where to share the screen. This is just basically a test stream. Oh, oops, lazy. That's not what I should be doing. And I'm trying to figure this out. God, who knew it would be so difficult for this? Not what I should be doing. And I'm trying to figure this out. God, who knew it would be so difficult for this? Not what I should be doing. And I'm trying to figure this out. God, who knew it would be so difficult for this? Not what I should be doing. And I'm trying to figure this out. God, who knew it would be so difficult for this? I'm just gonna turn myself up a little bit. I'm gonna play with the volumes, or listen to myself. Oh, add source. Turn myself up a little bit. I'm gonna play with the here we go. Volumes, or listen to myself. Oh, add source. A little bit. Here we go. Game capture. I mean, can I just capture my screen? Game capture. I mean, screen capture, mods capture, window capture. Ah, here we go. That's please welcome. Screen capture, mods capture, window capture. Ah, here we go. That's please welcome. Okay, I think it works. Okay. Okay, I think it works. Okay, alright, well that works. Okay. Okay, alright, well that works. Alright, I'm gonna write some to-dos because there's a lot of optimization for this code. Actually, ironically, made a lot of this code static, or not static. I guess you could say. Write some to-dos because there's a lot of optimization for this code. Actually, ironically, made a lot of this code. You could say, static, or not static. I guess you could say. To-dos because there's a lot of optimization for this code. I'm also going to turn myself off because I hear myself in the background and it's really often. Oops. Gonna keep up to chat. Anyway, to do what do we have to do? There's a few things in this script. We are converting mage. We're converting spells. Oh no, we're not. We're converting trap cards slash yeah, trap cards. Because this here is this no trap type. These are types. So trap type into a new script called. I'm gonna call this a trap manager. Okay, inside this we want to confirm two things. We want a public enum to determine its value, well, its type. So an enum which understands its original type. There's probably 100 ways better you can do it, but I found enums are better, and trying to convert tags into enums because enums are just faster in general for the CPU and overall for the game. So enum types. We're gonna have the values of traps as my types, and then those are counted for how many values, how many traps are there. That's quite small traps. So yeah, so traps will become enums. Then we will need to create just like this, really. For this is using a Okay, no, so yeah, this is stating a few things. Number one, it's using a type, which is my type that I have declared up here of spell type. Spell type is my enum, so each basically is just saying that each type of card has its own public type, which is declared inside the inspector. From there, the inspector is so there you're stating a static variable, and from there we can do a switch statement. Because if we do an if statement, welcome to the BIS. This is too much lines of code, you could say. Basically, they're going through to each one, and what we're trying to do is shrink this. So we are shrinking the ability to the ability to shrink our script so it doesn't require so much computes in it. Because, for example, we're using quite an old system. I don't know actually right now. I think this is I say pure C#. It's just netcode C#, where we're using a point event data and on a drag system, which gets involved with also mono behavior. So you have to declare them up here. Normally that's how you would declare them. Anyway, so onto the great shifting. I'm going to just bring this over, and I'm going to grab my newfound blacksmith type trap manager. Trap manager right now, as I've sent it, I'm sending it as a public static, and I'm creating a dummy at a vector 3 position, a wall position. From there, you can create this as a transform if you want. I've created it as an object just because itself is an object. I don't know what is better to run. I don't know if it's better to run a object or transform. Transforms just allow you to grab the React. Is it called React transform? I think a game object contains, you have the whole object, and then you have the transform, the object. And the transform normally understands its position. So technically, because we are using a vector 3 position, it would be more comical to use transform than game object, but that's going to later change, because at the present moment I'm only stating this for test versions. I also want to create a what's it called, you could say, I guess you could say I was trying to create. Okay, the idea of this, I'm just gonna write the to do on this one, get rid of its returns. The idea of this is I'm creating a static which I can apply simply with this line of code, which I'm calling the script, and then call that static object from the script. Because it's static, I need a return function, which is here, which is stated with, I'm getting a component, so I'm getting the dummy equals the trap dummy transform, which equals to my instantiated object of get component of this object. So you're just getting this object, and then you're creating it. So in theory, what I'm trying to accomplish, at least, is to create this object, spawn it, and then from there I'm going to well, from there I'm going to spawn the object. There's nothing more than that, really. But anyway, that's the idea behind this one. Again, I want to change it. I don't think it's in the right location for this. Because it's a static, it doesn't require it to be attached to a object, so I can call it anywhere. The only thing is I need to call a resource, which normally what this means is just you're getting a file called resource. You're loading a game object. In my case, you can load a transform. Again, as I said, transforms are just the transform of inside an object. An object is the whole object itself, with tags, and then I'm getting the trapped underscore prefabs, and I'm getting specifically the dummy underscore trap. That's that's basically what I'm trying to accomplish. Just gonna go back to this. I'm basically what I'm doing in this quick I guess live stream. I'm just basically yeah. So anyway, so I'm creating it, as I said. I'm gonna just go back to here. So create type into a new script called trap manager. We have trap manager. We can inadvertently connect that. So you won't be able to see this, but spell type is connected to an object inside my Unity. I think it's connected to, if we follow what I just said previously in the static, is that if we go to prefabs and we go to the resources folder, inside my resources folder I will have a tab called traps. Inside traps I will have a prefab, and from there that will be the prefab that I have loaded. The problem with you using resource.load, you are very name sensitive. So yeah, the problem with, I guess you could say, name sensitivity is that there's many reasons why. But anyway, sorry, I'm just gonna finish my train of thought. The reason why it's problematic if you use a string variable to determine your call effect, I guess you could say, is that it has to be exact. You could run this if you wanted to through a public or a serialized field or a private, but it's completely up to you. Anyway, so completely up to you, but yeah. So the this is dangerous. I wouldn't. I don't know if I would recommend it. I think yeah, I think so. And so I know there's a few people who do it like this. I think I've learned this idea from actually gonna pop him, Code Monkey, who actually helped me get started with Unity and grow. And so this is the kind of idea where you're just loading the resources. Talking about loading resources, I run through a system, resources.manager, which determines my job output or my gather output, where you're trying to gather the resources you get. Oh hey, welcome. I don't know why. Okay, it works perfectly. Cheers, man. Anyway, so yeah, the premise of that is that I would recommend this if you know what your resources are called. I'm using this because I don't want these to be attached to scripts. I want them to be called internally, so I've called them a static, and I've used them public. Remember, private and public fields. Private, it cannot be called in another instance. It is only used in that script. The properties of using that would be for actually saying this, I think it's better if you use serialized field of private. Keep every value you have a private, unless, as I said, unless you're calling it into another script, then that can be a clause into making it public. Some of the code on this is pretty flexible and pretty destructive. So as I said, I need to get through and organize a lot of the code. Some of the code in here is ridiculous. There's over 100 script files in this. Just ridiculous. There's some things I could just make it into smaller stuff, but the core premise of what I've learned from React and JS is that making smaller scripts and allowing it to be called from other things is actually better in the system's whole. So you don't want files over 1,000 lines long, because first off, when you're trying to read it, it's hell. When you're trying to compile it, it's going to be long. Remember, code runs through line by line, so if you've got a script file over 1,000 lines long, it can get hectic. Though the beauty of that really only applies to React and JS. The beauty of a C#, you could say, or the C family, is that a lot of it requires you to have it in update or start, awake, fix updates, and a few more. So you actually can make lines of code super long because you're using functions, and so those functions hold their own box, like a caterpillar does to its to its own butterfly. Actually, that made no sense, but the idea is that you make a function, that function then does its own thing. So for example, I'm going to bring up, what do I bring up? What has multiple functions I can show you? Trying to think. Let's go to my resources and let's go to my resource manager. So in here I have a few functions, alright? So these are all public. And the reason why these are all public is because they're called from a load of scripts. 18 references are called can it afford, because it's always checking, as it's a boolean, it's always checking if the player can afford this, then Bob's your uncle, you can afford. Same with spend resources, and I think that's pretty much it. But anyway, so these are functions that you're looking for. These functions, they just allow you to not F up your code. And the one that I need to optimize like crazy, and I would not recommend looking at this, it's pretty hectic, and I'm at present moment here, I'm fixing it right now. But the one that I originally had, because I needed to make a load of tests, is over, it's ridiculous, over like 400 lines long. But I still keep with the same idea, where I keep my updates as short as possible, basically. So yeah. Anyway, so okay. Anyway, that's pretty much very shortly. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So as I said, I'm using something raycasts of hit information, and raycast goes to the camera information. From there, I have functions which have their own refs. This just means it's neater in my update. It doesn't mean it's neater in the rest of my code. I've got ways to fix this. I'm using scriptable objects to allow for ease of use. For example, build manager will require like a build list, and that list is we can determine that in a for each loop, and for each entity or for each key of each item, we're going to do a unique ability for each one and check to see if that runs on this. Remember, I'm changing my compare tags, which are state tags. I wouldn't recommend them, into enums, which are stronger and faster. Anyway, well, maybe next live stream I can actually do some work and show you some of the stuff I'm working on. Just trying to explain a few things that might be helpful for you. Probably not. But anyway, yeah. On that, see ya.